Good Thursday morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing. Looking at our overall picture, we have no significant impacts to speak of despite the unseasonably warm and dry conditions. We do have showers moving into most areas later this weekend. Looking at the past 7 days of precipitation, you can see that we've been quite dry. Very few areas receiving precipitation. That's caused some concerns and even of large fire up in southwest Idaho. You can see our latest fuel conditions. We've dried out quite a bit. Areas of concern up in our Great Basin 01 zone, just north of Boise up towards McCall. You can see that our ERCs have reached record levels for this time of year, which is relative, but it's on a more normal mid-September type of a deal, so definitely dried out through there. And also drying out across the Uinta Basin. Looking at ERCs rising up to record levels, again, given the time of year, but more analogous with Labor Day type normal levels. Water vapor imagery shows a low pressure center right off the southern California coast. You can see that the southerly flow ahead of it is pumping up lots of subtropical moisture, also resulting from the warmer El Nino enhanced waters. The ridge of high pressure over us remains kind of in control, but this low is going to buckle into it and cause a change in our weather pattern for the next few days. Here's a look at our significant fire potential for this afternoon. Most areas in the green moist category. The only exceptions will be across the Uinta region, across eastern Utah, and across parts of western Idaho where our fuels have dried out quite a bit, and a little bit along the Sierra front as well. Very dry across adjacent areas of California. And if we look at weather conditions, on the left, humidity this afternoon dropping down into the mid-teens to near 20%. Some driest conditions, low to mid-teens across parts of southern and eastern Utah. On the right-hand side, you can see winds light starting to come out of the south ahead of that low pressure area. Now, if we take a look on Friday, we see that the moisture with that low that moves onshore starts expanding and starts covering much of the area. We look at our significant fire potential. It's unchanged, but that's just because the showers are starting to come on in, and that will change significantly. Looking at our humidity levels, on the left you can see that a rise in humidity with that green coming across southern parts of Nevada and southern Utah as well, driest in the north. Again, light to locally moderate south winds starting to develop. Now if we take a look at Saturday, you can see the moisture actually expands across the region. The trough kind of remains stationary through here, and some upper level dynamics are causing an expansion of the moisture on that southerly flow. And that'll cause lots of showers across the region. And you can see on the right-hand side, our fire potential starts moistening up a little bit more across the Sierra front. Across some of the Book Cliff areas are starting to moisten on up. Still hanging in for one more day across Idaho and the Uintas, but that will be changing. If we look at the relative humidity during the afternoon hours, the humidities come up quite a bit, having a tough time dropping down below 20% in most areas. Winds, again, on the right-hand side will be fairly light. Now, if we take a look at Sunday, we see that that moisture really starts spreading into our northern areas of Nevada and Utah, and especially into Idaho ahead of another front coming to the Pacific Northwest. And the story is told on the right-hand side. All areas would have received fairly long-duration showers, and they go into the fairly benign moist category. Now, if we look down the road a little bit on Monday, still lingering moisture across northern and eastern parts of the Great Basin. Again, we stay in the moist category, and really nothing much changes as we go into Tuesday and into Wednesday. We start drying out atmospherically, but because there was so much shower activity at this point, we don't see any concerns at all. There'll be some increasing southwest to westerly winds coming off the Sierra front. Again, though, fuel should be a bit too moist for any serious concerns. We'll break down our precipitation forecast in several increments. This will be the first 3 days, Thursday through Saturday. You can see the first shade of blue is a ½ inch or more of precipitation. The darkest shade of green is a ¼ inch or more. And you can see that just about all of Nevada, most of Utah, and parts of Idaho are into that wetting rain category with that second and third shade of green. That's the first wave of precipitation. Now, as we go later on into the period from Sunday to Monday, we can see that there's an enhanced area of precipitation that the computer models are forecasting across north central and far northeastern Nevada. Also, some heavier precipitation amounts across parts of southeastern Idaho and even into northern Utah. This might be a little overdone, but the general trend is that showers will continue during that period. And if we combine everything and look at the totals that we're expecting over the next 5 to 7 days, you can see a significant rain. Darkest shade of green is a quarter to a half inch. Anything in the blue is a half inch up to maybe 2 to 3 inches of rain. Even if we cut this down by 50%, this is still a widespread wetting rain event, and this definitely looks like a more of a season ender as far as we can see at this point. We'll look at our week 2, 8 to 14 day outlook. Temperature on the left. You can see that we're closer to normal, just perhaps a shade above normal, but in all practical purposes, more typical temperature regime of what we would expect for mid to late October. And precipitation on the left, a little wetter than normal, especially further to the east across eastern Utah and parts of Idaho. So we don't see a very hot, dry pattern that would take us back to critical conditions after the upcoming precipitation event at this point. There's been lots of talk about the El Nino event that's developing, and we can see it here across the equatorial waters from South America through the Central Pacific. This is a strong one, something that happens maybe once every 20 or so years, as opposed to the weaker ones that occur once every 5 years or so. That shade of red that you see through here is 2 degrees of centigrade or warmer of temperature. That's indicative of a very strong El Nino. And that darkest shade of red, which is temperatures 3 degrees Celsius warmer than normal, that's, again, probably one of the strongest El Ninos that we've recorded in the past 70 years or so. Maybe not quite as strong as the 97 event, but probably in line with the 82-83 event. So definitely some impacts to be had as we go through the winter months. And this concludes our briefing. We will continue these fire weather briefings until our last large fire team is dismantled up in southern Idaho. So we probably will continue these briefings through the weekend. Have a safe day.